So, good afternoon again, everybody. Thank you all so much for joining us today for the Mentor Protégé Informational webinar. My name is Sean Charles. I am Director for the Mayor's Office of Supplier Diversity for the City of New Orleans. So, the Office of Supplier Diversity helps firms in several ways. Our primary purpose or responsibility is administering the city's Equitable Business Opportunities Program, which consists of three major components: our SLDBE certification, contract compliance, and capacity building, which I'll share more information about in a few minutes. We host training events, webinars, and in-person meetings because we want to make sure that you all stay in the know, and we want to ensure that our program participants are well informed about opportunities to do business with the city. We want to connect you to resources so that you can grow and scale your businesses. And we want to also educate our SLDBE firms about programs that the city has in place for your small and disadvantaged businesses. Which brings me to the topic of today's presentation, our Mentor Protege program. Now, this initiative was designed to empower our disadvantaged business enterprises through mentorship and support. Now, before we dive in, today's session is being recorded, and as such, everyone on the line will be on mute during the session, but I encourage you to use the chat feature if you have any questions or comments that you might want to add. And then, of course, after the presentation, I'll share all of the questions in a FAQ document that'll be shared with you all with some more information about our program and how to join if you so desire. All right, so let's get started. I am going to turn off my video as not to be a distraction, and we'll get started. All right, so just a bit of background about, wait a minute. There we go. Just a bit of background about the Office of Supply Diversity. Our office was created to help mitigate the effects of past and present social and economic discrimination by increasing the use of certified DBEs in the procurement of goods and services by the City of New Orleans. Our mission and vision are as follows. The Office of Supply Diversity is dedicated to creating and implementing programs, policies, and procedures to assist your small businesses and to ultimately connect you with city contracts. And our vision is to develop a national model for local governments to follow. We have oversight of three major components. We oversee certification, that's the SLDBE certification program I spoke about, contract compliance, and capacity building and outreach for disadvantaged businesses in the City of New Orleans. So we certify qualified firms in our SLDBE certification program. We monitor and maintain compliance on all eligible city contracts. And as I mentioned earlier, we support our DBE firms through capacity building and outreach. And this is one of our major capacity building programs, our Mentor Protege program. This program was developed, of course, to enhance the capacity of state and local disadvantaged business enterprises through hands-on training and experiences. The program strives to develop working relationships between SLDBE firms and prime contracting firms that have successfully participated in and or completed municipal contracts. So just a bit of information about the importance of mentorship, the knowledge transfer. So in our program, mentors share their expertise by helping proteges successfully navigate city contracts and other agency procurement processes. Sometimes for our smaller firms, maybe less experienced firms, the task of navigating our city process could be a bit daunting and they may shy away from it. But working directly with a mentor who's already been through those processes can, hold hands, so to speak, and just lead and guide our smaller firms until they get that confidence that they need to move forward with applying for and seeking those city contracts. Skill development. So again, mentors provide guidance to protege firms for developing and enhancing those skills required to operate on a high performance basis. Accountability. So a mentor can, help to hold mentees accountable for meeting their goals. Sometimes folks are set goals and they get so busy with the business of running the business that they don't hold themselves accountable. Well, a mentor can serve as that accountability factor. Strategic planning. Mentors can also offer varying perspectives to help proteges improve on decision making and avoid costly errors. Because why? The mentors are typically more experienced and have gone through our program and know what to do and what not to do. And so rather than our small businesses having to make those costly mistakes, mentors can give guidance and direction to help you avoid some of those errors. Enhanced decision making. So experience is the best teacher, right? And our mentors, again, have agreed to share their expectations, their experiences with proteges to help them enhance their decision making process. The mentors we've selected and we plan to select can also offer perspectives that improve decision making, again, reducing the likelihood of costly mistakes. So the key program requirements for participation, the Mentor Protege program is completely voluntary for all firms, mentors or proteges. Eligibility, mentor firms must have graduated from the city's SLDBE program. So I talked about that a little earlier, but our program has limits, right? So there's a certification application process for those who may or may not be familiar with that. And if we deem a returning firm as ineligible by way of exceeding our program limits, those firms are invited to serve as mentors because based on the evidence, we have determined that they have grown their firms such so that they are now in a position where they can reach back and help some of those smaller firms to be as successful. Protege firms, on the other hand, they must have a current SLDBE certification from the city of New Orleans. And here recently, one of our newer requirements is a DBE boot camp prerequisite for interested firms. This is a 3-hour training course hosted by the city's Bureau of Purchasing. And the course is designed for newly certified SLDBE firms. I recently learned that not only do our SLDBE certified firms not participate in the training class, most of them, unfortunately, have not heard of the program when in fact the program was lifted just for their benefit. So we put this program in place to answer one of the biggest questions, right? So everybody knows, the importance of being certified, and many of our firms get the certification, and the biggest question they have is, now what? Well, that boot camp will answer the now what. And it's very important for our newly certified firms to attend, and even firms who've been certified for some time, if they've not attended, we encourage them to attend also. In partnership with the Propeller, the city offers this DBE boot camp approximately 4 times a year. We try to do it once a quarter. And the training is free of charge. It's usually from 9 a.m. to noon. And Miss Adele and her team over at the Propeller usually accommodate our guests with coffee and light refreshments. So it's a really great opportunity. And I encourage, all small businesses to attend. The city does invest a lot of resources to ensure that we answer that big question for our small businesses. So, moving forward, interested firms must have completed the city's DBE boot camp and provide proof or confirmation of attendance. And your Propeller has an amazing record keeping system, and they share that information with us. So tracking that document wouldn't be hard. But again, if firms are interested in participating in the Mentor Protege program, they at a minimum need to understand what the requirements are for participating in city contracts and learn how to do business with the city. Firms who have not completed the DBE bootcamp but are still interested in participating can simply provide proof of registration confirmation for the upcoming class. Now, we just did one in the first quarter, and there's another one coming up. This is April. I think we have one coming up in May or June. So, and I didn't mention this at the start, but this group, if anyone from this group on the line today is interested, you have enough time to not only attend the DBE boot camp, but if any firms are on the line that are not certified, you also have time to get certified and be in position because we'll start our pairing process in October. So, submission: mentor firms must submit a business profile, statement of experience, and capacity to support proteges, right? Protege firms must submit a capability statement and a DBE bootcamp attendance confirmation or registration for the upcoming class. All participants must complete a development plan, which that'll be used to guide the pair throughout the course of the program, right? And the development plan essentially states, what the protege is looking to get out of the pairing between the mentor and the protege, and it also confirms what the mentor will be able to offer or assist with. And so it's just a document that we keep on file that helps us to guide the relationship. Um, Meeting and reporting requirements. So firms must submit quarterly progress reports. And we really tried to simplify that submission. We created a simple Microsoft Forms, right? So it's not a report in the general sense, but it is a series of questions regarding the current or the most recent quarter. And you just respond to the questions at, I think it's less than 15 questions, I'm sure. And most of it is name, business name, mentor name, things like that, so we can track the information properly. But you just answer the questions at the end of it, click submit, and your report is done. So we really didn't want to make the requirements too strict so that it impedes progress of, the actual running of your business. But we do need to track and document the participation. And so we do that by requiring quarterly progress reports. And the mentors must hold regular scheduled meetings with their proteges as documented in the development plan. And that's another thing that's covered in that development plan. You will agree on a meeting cadence. Some people may, want to meet once a month. Some people may say, I need more meeting time. I want to meet, every other week. And some people may say, I can only meet once a quarter, and hopefully it's more than that. But it's whatever the mentor and the protege decide on. That information is documented. You sign off on it in the mentor protege agreement. Our office has that document. And of course, you all have a copy too. But it's just something that's used to guide you all throughout the mentor protege relationship. So the program duration. Yep, need to change that. So the program already commenced for January 2026, but it will commence again January 2027. And so that's what I was speaking of earlier. Typically, or in the past, rather, we'd only hosted this informational seminar once a year. We would do it like every September. And then we started having so many folks to inquire, about joining the program. I thought it would be best to host multiple presentations throughout the year to give everybody an opportunity to learn what the program is, learn what's involved, and how to join. And so that everyone's not so pressed with, doing it only in September and perhaps maybe missing some important dates or critical information. And so this is March. We'll do it again in, I think, June, and then again in September. Hold this informational meeting, share about our program, and send out requests, or I think we send out a link. And if you're interested, you click the link, fill out your information, and you can begin the submission process. But for protege firms, the duration entails up to two 36-month terms. So it's a total of 72 months, provided that the protege firm continues to meet the eligibility requirements, and essentially as long as the protege is still engaged. Two terms are not required. A protege could do one 36-month term and say, you know what, I'm good with it, or my business has grown so much, I really don't have the time to commit to it. Or a protege could say, I want to go on for another term. And instead of having the same mentor, I'd like to explore, meeting with another mentor. Some proteges, have a really good working relationship and have no desire to switch. They want more time with the same mentor. So you do have options as it relates to how you want to move forward with that additional term. For mentor firms, participants can be recertified in the city's SLDBE program for up to 10 years. That's one of the really good incentives for those mentor firms who have essentially aged out or grown out of our program. But if they will agree to come back and serve as a mentor, they can maintain eligibility for up to 10 years, again, provided that they are they apply for recertification on an annual basis, and it's just a mini recertification. It's not quite the same as our SLDBE firms, and they have to provide sufficient evidence of ongoing mentor-protege relationships. Failure to comply with the mentor-protege, written development plan, as it's approved by our office, will result in the firm losing their certification. So some program incentives. Oh, I think I went too far. I just wanted to share some information about our inaugural cohort. As some of you all may know, this program is fairly new to the city of New Orleans. In October 2024, we launched the Mentor Protege program. And in January 2025, the Office of Supply Diversity hosted its first cohort, which consisted of 2 mentors and 7 proteges. And then in January 2026, we hosted our second cohort, which we had 4 proteges and 2 mentor firms. So currently, we're in the process, as I mentioned earlier, of preparing for our upcoming 2027 cohort, which commences January 2027. And after this webinar, you'll have a time period to express interest. And from there, we'll start the selection and pairing phase where we match the mentors and the proteges. And we usually do that in October. But again, because you're attending this early informational webinar, you can express interest now and then submit your information. And then we will hold it until we get all participants and then go from there. And so program incentives. So for the mentor firms, again, they can qualify for up to 10 additional years certification. They get enhanced evaluation points. Any program participant, so mentor or protege, will get enhanced program participation points on RFP or proposal submission. And then they get favorable payment terms. So firms serving as prime contractors will receive net 15 payment terms to improve cash flow. Currently, the city has a net 30 payment term for all payments. But if we have participants in our Mentor Protege program that are serving as prime contractors, the city will honor net 15 payment terms. And some of the program benefits are creating and strengthening relationships. So just to connect our firms to our SLDBE firms to well-established and emerging businesses is a benefit in itself. Sometimes, proteges or smaller firms may not know, how to not only approach larger firms that are successful, or they oftentimes want just an introduction, but this program will give you much more than just an introduction. It puts you in the room with those other firms who started where you all are and have been able to grow their firms. And so you have access to ask them, any question you have, essentially. But just to learn how they did what they did is a huge benefit. Certainly, we expand opportunities with getting access to city contracts and boosting visibility. And then, of course, enhancing capabilities, strengthening your SLDBE skills, and providing you with all of the tools you need to grow your business. All right. So in summary, the Mentor Protege program helps our small businesses, helps them learn to grow and experience contracting with the city by pairing them with experienced mentors. The idea or concept is that businesses graduate from our programs and that they reach back to help others in the same way. It also encourages our small businesses to take on bigger city contracts, right? Sometimes small business owners are typically only familiar with subcontracting, but through working with your mentors, it is encouraged that you would move into the prime contracting phase or just move into contracting, because some firms unfortunately have our DBE certification and they don't apply for contracts or don't win contracts. And the idea of pairing smaller firms with the larger mentor firms is a way in, right? For them to help you grow your firm, make it stronger, and achieve more success. The city of New Orleans certainly wants to help support small businesses and make the local economy better by building a team of skilled contractors.